So with most teams across the nation, December 15th didn't wrap it up for them, but got them to the 80% to 90 percentile of what that recruiting class was going to look like upon completion. But with Miami, a different story. With most teams that had a coaching transition, different story. I'm looking at 10 letters of intent that have been signed out of a class that's going to be much larger than that. So many moves are to come between now and the next week. And when I say much larger, 30 to 50% larger.
Okay, yeah, 30 to 50% larger. I mean, I always thought that this was going to be a smaller class anyway, even when Manny Diaz was the coach, but especially going to transitioning Mark Cristobal. Yeah, I mean, you're talking 18 is really, really high. I mean, you're looking at the 15, 16 range and number of high schools players that are going to be signed in this class. Miami already has 5 transfers from the transfer portal in this group, or adding on to the prep group. So that will help bolster the roster as well. So if you have, 14 to 16, we'll call it. So between that, let's just average it at 15. So you have 15 plus 5 in the transfer portal. That means you have 5 other slots for guys to transfer in this year. And, I don't know if we use all of those, but hopefully we're able to, see who is still out there in the transfer portal. And, after signing day on Wednesday, we'll keep looking in things. There's a couple of guys maybe who won't even announce their decisions on Wednesday, and you can, save a slot for them and keep recruiting them. Or, if it looks like, hey, they're going to take the extra time to make a decision to go somewhere else, then, you have the ability to look elsewhere as well. But, I think that Miami is in a good spot to have a pretty good class, although it's going to be small in number, very high in quality.
So I'll size it up like this, Cam. We could go through all the candidates, all the prospects, I should say, that Miami's in the running for and say, let's pick them all off. Boom, boom, boom. They all come in the fold. That's probably unrealistic to say, okay, they're going to go from here to there. And all the guys that we talk about on a regular basis, starting with a Shemar Stewart, let's say, and on down the line of them getting all of those guys. Let's put fantasy land aside and go to an optimistic, reasonable outlook for what could transpire between now and National Signing Day, and what you would be happy with the haul looking like between now and then.
I mean, just point of fact, Shemar Stewart's in that group. If I'm going to be really happy about it and be blunt about it, you're going to add 2, if not 3 offensive linemen, because you need size up front on that side of the ball as well. You add, 2, if not 3 offensive linemen, Shemar Stewart plus gravy. Whether that's Trevante Citizen, whether that's R. Mason Thomas, the Iowa State commit, from Cardinal Gibbons, who apparently Miami is very high on as an edge rusher because he has a different physical build, obviously, than like Shemar Stewart, who's just a monster. I mean, there's how many guys are going to be 6'6", 272 coming out of defensive line to play on the outside, or wanting to play on the outside out of high school. R. Mason Thomas is 6'2", 6'3", 215. He's your typical South Florida edge rusher, not super big, things like that. But that's a guy that Miami could push for. That's a guy that you could add to the group. Dave Iuli, from Washington State, was committed to Oregon, decommitted from Oregon, came to Miami. I think adding him for sure. He's a 4-star, 6'5", 320 interior lineman, probably played guard. That seems to be pretty wrapped up. You have a couple of guys, one guy visiting this week, and a guy visited a couple of weeks ago at offensive line, Matthew McCoy, and Anez Cooper. But those 2 guys, either you split them or you get them both. That's your 2, maybe 3. Shemar Stewart, I mean, that's a big one, obviously. And I think that's a move that really would showcase what Mario Cristobal can do here. But But yeah, I mean, realistically, you're looking at adding somewhere between 4 and 6 guys. But I would say Shemar Stewart, 2 or 3 offensive linemen, maybe the Thomas kid. That's both realistic and reasonable. And I'm not saying it's 100% like set in stone that Shemar Stewart's going to come here, but in a different way from his words and from the offensive or defensive line coach from Monsignor Pace, who's a very close friend, mentor, guide for Shemar Stewart. Miami's done themselves well since Cristobal's come here and made it very apparent that Shemar Stewart is the number one target. The first call that Mario Cristobal made after his press conference, still in the building after that press conference, was to Shemar Stewart, the very first player that was visited when the dead period ended at 12:01 in the morning, after like right after midnight on Wednesday morning a couple weeks ago. 4 guys from the staff pulled up to Shemar Stewart's house with Mo Marquez, the coach there, as well. So it's been clear, like, you're the guy, you're our guy. DeMarcus Van Dyke, who's also a Pace alum, is leading that recruitment. And there's things to like there too. He canceled a visit, did Shemar Stewart, to Texas A&M 2 weeks ago to take yet another unofficial visit to Miami. Yeah, he went to Georgia last weekend, and there are the reigning national champions with a great recruiting coach, a great recruiting staff, and everything. But nary a tweet about it. And hey, yo, I'm back in Miami. What's up, guys? Was the tweet that he sent out, and then he's coming for this visit this last weekend. So it's not unreasonable to get Shemar Stewart. It is entirely reasonable. I'm not going to say it's going to happen, but in a world that Mark is asked about, like, what is something that would be reasonable and would make me happy to see? Shemar Stewart, 2 to 3 of the offensive linemen, probably add in like R. Mason Thomas, maybe even add in his teammate Ahmad Moten, Anthony Moten's younger brother, who goes to Cardinal Gibbons, not St. Thomas Aquinas, like the older Moten did. But yeah, something in that range. Absent something extra. I mean, because the extra would be then we get everybody, which means Trevante Citizen, Joshua Connerly, the Anthony Munoz Offensive Lineman of the Year at the Adidas All-American game. He decides to change his timeline and say, I'm not going to wait until March. This one visit now, boom, I'm signing with Miami. That would be the pipe dream of, all of the badges are unlocked on your coach, on your NCAA 14. This has happened, and you literally get everybody. I don't think that's going to happen, but I mean, you're looking at a solid addition of between 4 to 6 guys, including Shemar Stewart, on next week, Wednesday. And that is a realistic scenario that would make me happy.